Hi everyone, welcome back to Muscular Development. My name is Lauren Lotter and today I'm joined with the amazing Christine Fox.
Hi everyone, thank you for having me.
So we've done an episode together and we've got Christine back for another one to talk about work-life balance and about taking time away from the stage. For those of you that don't know, Christine is also an NPC Bikini competitor and we've known each other for a few years now, so it's really nice to be able to do this and actually have Christine in the studio. But before we get into any episode, I just want to quickly say please make sure to like, share and subscribe. Go pick up your copy of Muscular Development with Dana Lynn Bailey on the front. Okay, she's got an awesome spread on the inside, so this is really exciting because we never have a lot of females on the cover, so this is really cool. So please make sure to go pick it up, ladies and gents. So it's very cool. And then let's get into it and let's get all up into this episode. Christine, before we start, do you want to quickly tell people about where they can find you and what you do?
Oh, what I do, yes. I am in Bikini and life. So yeah, I'm an NPC competitor. I've been competing since about 2016 in a few different federations. So I was with PCA. I started off doing some more of the kind of fitness modeling federations. Aside from that though, I have got a normal real world corporate job. So I am in the glamorous world of tax. I am a senior tax advisor. So yes, which people find quite surprising. And I know you also have a similar interest. And people do find it, there is a misconception that everyone who does this is a PT, a nutritionist, an online coach. But no, there are
regular people.
Yes, professional people. All sorts of regular people, who don't have a career in fitness, who are doing this as well at a quite high level as well.
Exactly. So that's really interesting because, Christine is super tax, super tax lady.
Yes.
And it is.
I won't be giving out advice on this episode.
No. We won't do that.
No.
Unsolicited advice. But basically, it is really quite something to come from a professional background when you're doing something full time. Mm-hmm. And there are certain professionals within IFBB, also NPC amateurs and a couple of pros, men and women across the board that compete. So for example, Sadiq Hatzovic used to be in business when he used to compete at like the Olympia level as well. And it just goes to show that you can do both, but you've got to just be organized. And that's what I want to talk to Christine about, is how she manages to balance it all when she does prep or when she is competing for a show. Mm-hmm. Because you have been competing for a number of years, so this has really been through trial and error. So I want to get your
somewhat a veteran.
Exactly. I want to get Christine's take on it. So I guess the first thing I want to ask you is, okay, you're prepping for a show, but how do you actually balance the time between prepping for your show and work and performing work to the most optimal level without getting fired?
Yeah, I guess there's two different questions there. So
sorry.
I think, if anyone's going to prep or think about doing a show, they already should or would be doing a regular amount of training 5-6 times a week. They'd probably already be eating quite a meal plan based, regime. It wouldn't just be going from absolutely nothing to, right, I've got to ram in all this training, all this cardio, I've completely overhauled my diet. So it's really like a spectrum, isn't it? It's like, you're probably living about 80% of the lifestyle, and then when you prep, it's 100, So the changes aren't so much in terms of the time, because you might have like you might go from 5 to 6 sessions a week. You might introduce cardio, but again, on day one, you're not going in at the max amount. You're building it up, and as you go through your prep, you kind of get used to, you start on like 20 minutes. So I never had to do loads of cardio, so that's probably my only tip. So I was quite lucky in that case. But yeah, I think the more demanding side of it is outside of the routine, which you should probably have 90% established anyway, is the maintaining your focus, because it does make things like your energy suffer, your attention span suffer. You do have other things on your mind as well. You've got things to be doing, planning, organizing. And so that is probably the harder side of it, I would say, than just fitting in what you probably would be doing anyway if you were serious about doing a competition.
How do you find the mental fatigue and just that element with work in the last couple of weeks? Do you have to take time off or?
Generally, no. I do work right up until the end, probably just because I like to do so many shows. So I think at the beginning, it's always like your first couple of shows, oh, I'll take off peak week or whatever. Peak week's the week that you actually get more food. So you're probably better working and you have to do less training. So you've got more time, just like rest and eat all day at your desk. But I think caffeine helps. Definitely. I think I've over egged that in my time. But yeah, just being sensible as well, like making sure you do actually have lunch breaks and time to just rest your brain and, you know, sit and do nothing at work or go for a walk or whatever you need to do. But in that hour, you know, you can't think solidly all day, every day anyway. And sometimes you do notice a bit of a fog descending. But yeah, I think as well, like if you do have any flexibility in your job to kind of pick the work you're doing, obviously things need to be done, but there's you know, you can decide what you have the energy for. So, you know, when you first get in there, is there a challenging piece of work you need to do where you really need to think hard? And then can you spend 2 hours in the afternoon just answering emails or making appointments or whatever it is you need to do that's kind of low energy work that you can do that isn't too taxing? So having a bit of awareness of your mental energy levels and picking work to suit it, I think helps as well.
I think that is quite interesting. And, you know, you've built into this career sort of like it's basically what I'm trying to say is it's not easy to do in you'll climb as you go into the career like anything else. Yeah. So you do know your mental awareness and what you're capable of trying to do that. But was there something that you had to figure out on how to do that when you first started competing?
It's hard to know what I figured out. I think it's definitely got easier as the time's gone on. I think my first prep was more difficult at work, but that's probably just because my attitude to it was probably a lot more rigid than it is now. Not knowing what to expect in your first prep, it was literally like I had to follow what I'm meant to be doing by the letter of the law, and I get quite stressed out. You know, if I couldn't find an apple in the canteen that I was meant to eat at 11 o'clock with my shake, you know, and like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. There's no apples. Like mental breakdown. I think as I've progressed, you know, I've realized things aren't that important. You know, if I am in meetings or whatever and I don't get to have my lunch, I can have like a really big meal at 3 o'clock that's like two together. You know, I can swap in rice for a potato or an apple for a banana or something like that with quite low stress, you know, and I can do a few things on the go like that, which is I've realized it's not the end of the world. And also just a bit of flexibility. Like I think people always think you need to be like super organized and regimented, whereas I think it's probably the opposite has benefited me, actually having more flexibility and just saying, you know, fine, I'll do that this evening, or, you know, I need to go to the gym this morning, so I'm not going to do my dishes today. Does that matter? Is that high on my priority list? No. Do I need to wash my hair today? No. You know, not getting like OCD about every single thing, but just kind of going with the flow a bit more. You know, if I need to do my cardio of an evening, I'm not going to panic if somebody said I should have done it in the morning. You know, it's kind of got done in the day, and just having that flexibility and being easy on yourself, as long as it kind of, you can piece it in. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you can get it all done.
In terms of getting it all done and prioritizing your workouts and your cardio then for prep, especially towards the end time of that, would you tend to put all of that in the morning, or would you structure a little bit in the day? Because Christine is typically working like a normal 9-to-5 job, I would say. So I'm trying to just get a viewpoint on how she would structure the workouts.
Yeah, that's changed a little bit over time. I would say that the last couple of preps I've done, I've tended to do my weight training first thing in the morning, because that's when I've got most energy. I'm least hungry. So I can just go in and get that done. And actually I have then the peace of mind that I've done the most important aspect, what I feel is the most important aspect, and got that done. So, you know, if I do have to stay late at work, if something runs over, if I'm trying to, you know, haven't had time to finish anything off, then I don't need to think, oh my goodness, like I haven't got time to fit the work in because the gym will shut at 10 o'clock and now it's 8 o'clock by the time I get there. And, you know, So as long as I know that that's done, I can kind of then have a bit more of a relaxed work day. Things like cardio, I would then probably do in an evening, because I could do it in the gym. I've got a spin bike at home. I could go for a run. You know, if I am late, there's other things I could do. Occasionally, if I've only got like 20 minutes to do, I might do it in my lunch break. So because there's a gym pretty much next door to my office, so that's convenient. So yeah, I would tend to start the day with weights. And I used to do it the exact opposite way around, because I'm not an early riser. I'm not an natural early bird, I'll be honest. And luckily my work do let me start work about 10 a.m.
Okay.
So that enables me to kind of get up at a reasonable time, you know, make my food and then go to the gym and then get there for 10. So that suits me. And then I stay till about 7-ish at night, let's say. So they're flexible that way. And, you know, they know that's what I'm up to in the morning, and that's fine. But I had used to, for many years, be an evening trainer, like 8 till 10 p.m. And you're getting a bit of a cycle of, then you can't go to bed because you're eating your last meal at 11, and then you don't wake up till 8 a.m. And then you literally can never become a morning person. But I have found the mornings better. It is hard at the end of a day, particularly when you are, you know, mentally tired as well, to then go in the gym, even if you're not physically tired, to have the mental capacity to want to do it and to actually put all the effort in. I found I could put a lot more effort in the morning.
That's so interesting, because I would rather work out in the nighttime. So, but it's just goes to show like people can be a bit different. I guess what time would you wake up if you're starting work at 10?
My alarm goes for about 6:30.
That's not too
Might
bad.
snooze a little bit.
That's not too...
No, it's
like,
not too bad. So I could...
late? No, that's early. I think that's early.
Yeah, I mean, I might get out of bed at 7. snooze. I know we shouldn't advocate this. Apparently, it's not the way it should be done. Spring out of bed. But yeah, and then I tend to actually prep most of my food in the morning, fresh most days before I go to work. And as well, I think a lot of people like cook a week's worth of food. I have done that at stages, but sometimes I like, what do I fancy eating on the day? You know, and although you have a plan, you do have a choice. Like, I can have chicken, I can have prawn, I can have, you know, different things. Do I fancy potato today? Do I want rice? And I think on the day, if you wake up, it makes dieting a lot better. If you think, oh, I really fancy this today, I might make like some chicken fajita mix or something, or today I'll make, you know, make some minced beef into a burger or something. You know, it makes dieting a little bit easier. And it's not, you know, you're still sticking to your calories, your macros. You know, I'm not going out there at McDonald's or whatever. But I just find dieting a lot more appealing if I'm eating something that's actually I fancy eating.
That's really interesting to hear sort of your flexible approach around what I know is a very, I don't want to say rigid, but a very structured, rigid career type of, what is the word? It's demanding, or a demanding career. So it is interesting to see.
Yeah, it's very
that you can
stressful.
make,
It is busy and stressful as well. So
and
a lot of pressure.
You can make sort of flexible option choices. We have a cat in the house. So we're just going to ignore the cat for a bit. But with that being said, and also like on the topic of dieting and being at work, when you're, I don't know if it was different pre-COVID or if it's different now because you have a little bit more flexibility, but how did you find dieting around the colleagues, and what was their general reaction to this lifestyle?
Yeah, I've never really had an issue with it. I think people are intrigued more than anything. They, you know, people do ask questions, kind of what you're up to. But yeah, it's not really like a disruptive thing, you know. You can just sit at the desk and get some food out, or go to the canteen. It's a good excuse for like a 15-minute break. As I say, you know, like rather than maybe having one massive lunch hour, I know I'll have like 15 minutes in the morning, half an hour at lunch, another 15 minutes later, and that helps you like mentally have breaks as well. But yeah, people are cool with it. I think they're intrigued. I've never had any comments that they've seen a negative shift in my work. I will say my patience gets a lot thinner towards the back end of prep. Thinnest toilet paper, sometimes the patience. That's probably the worst bit, yeah.
Do you have any tips for sort of dealing with that at work? Say, for example, when you're hangry and you're just like, no,
not today. Don't answer the phone. Oh God, I don't know if I have any tips. No.
Push through the hanger.
Yeah, just push through. I think some people are a little aware, but then you do have to try and be professional and just realize you can't just kick off.
No, and that's a really important point too, is just because this is such a professional environment. You can't be emotional. No. You can't really, you must be a master of your emotion.
Yeah, it's difficult. You can't ask for concessions for it because it's something you've done to yourself. It's not like I'm ill or not feeling my best today, so please excuse me if I'm there's a few mistakes in this, or I wasn't very good on this call or whatever. It's something you've chose to do. So I think it is important to realize if you are thinking it's like actually seriously affecting your performance, then your employers aren't going to really tolerate that much, because why should they?
Would you ever tell your employers if you were on prep?
Yeah, I think they can notice.
Okay.
Well, I hope they notice me getting leaner by the day, disappearing before their eyes. I do tell them, yeah, they know roughly what I'm up to, and they do ask. I've got one of the kind of owners of the business is quite interested in bodybuilding. Has a dog called Arnold, I believe, and ask me about it, what I'm up to. Let's say people are more intrigued than anything. Yeah.
Oh, so this is good. And how do you plan out, let's say, wanting to travel internationally for a show, and taking the time from work? Because when you compete, it's quite demanding. So if you're taking holiday time,
obviously you only have so many days holiday to take. I tend to kind of map out roughly kind of when my first international show will be, but I'll always be quite flexible. I always do quite a few per season. There's no point getting absolutely shredded and wheeling yourself out once, is there? So I probably do between 4 and 6 shows per season most seasons. So I'm not competing this year, but for the last few years I have. So I generally pencil out the first one, and then I'll have the whole diary in my diary so I can see what's coming up, and I will earmark some, but I am also quite flexible. I won't really book the next one until I've completed the previous one. I want to see what my feedback is. Is it something I can do within that time frame? Have I done well, and is it worth just wheeling myself out straight away again? You never know what's going to happen. I was telling you earlier, last year I'd done 2 shows and planned to do some others, and then I got COVID and took a bit longer off, and then came back again a month later. So you've got to be flexible with it, and I quite like just booking a show 2 to 3 weeks in advance. But with regards to taking time off, I think the more you get used to competing internationally, you can do it quite efficiently, i.e., fly out Thursday night, just take Friday off, do your show Saturday, fly back Sunday. Quite often I'd take the Friday and Monday off maybe. So you're not using too many days really for a show, and I would always work throughout peak week. Say it can be difficult, but you get used to it. I know what I need to be packing, I know what I need to be prepping to take there. I've got it down to a T. I don't need to spend all week packing my suitcase and picking this, that and the other. Got really efficient at what needs to go in the wheelie case, and I got really good at the food side whilst I was away. When I first started going abroad, it would take me ages. I'd literally cook everything, kind of freeze it, defrost it out in a sink in a hotel, literally everything I'd take with me. The last few preps, and probably because the approach of the coach, it was literally, what carbs do you like eating? Rice. Okay, so I'll take some packets of rice and rice cakes. I'll go there, I'll buy some jars of honey, I'll buy a jar of peanut butter. Chicken or fish, I'd probably take enough for 3 meals that evening, and the next day you can go to a supermarket. You can always buy cooked chicken, you can always buy salmon, you can always buy pretty much everything. And I think if you're not used to it, you do have a nervousness. It's I need this food prepped. But just keep it really, really simple in peak week. And it was just literally I didn't even eat greens in peak week. Just mainly carbs, to be fair. You just stuff your face with rice cakes and rice all day. So it's like super easy.
See, I was just thinking back when Christine said that about the food, and when we were in Romania, and it was I was prepping for the Spain show, and I hadn't really told anyone I was prepping for the Spain show, but I think people could see I was prepping for Spain, because you're not going to just like,
you know
what I mean? And I started to I think I brought like tins of tuna with me, and my case was so heavy. And I remember thinking, Giles was like, Lauren, why don't you just buy the tuna when you were there? And I was like, no, I've got to pack every single tin that I need.
I used to be so nervous, like, what if they don't have this in the supermarket? Like, you're going to Portugal, it's like a third world country, they have tuna fish. You know, you can get Google Translate and find out what any information on any packaging says in a foreign language now.
And I was just like, no, I've got to take all these tins for this meal, and there's nothing else. And I stuck to it. But I think Giles Puller is a bit nuts.
Yeah, honestly, I used to make like egg white pancakes and freeze them and put them in my case. All sorts of stupid things. Like, yeah, literally.
It sounds nice.
But now I don't even travel. I don't even stay in a self-catering. I stay in hotels. As long as I've got a fridge, that's all I need. I don't cook. And that makes it easier. I can go out sightseeing. Just raw food can I eat?
Because I've seen some people, they take these hot plates in. You know Ria Gale?
Yeah.
So she has this hot plate that she advertises from Amazon, so you can get a hot plate, singular hot plate with a little pan and spatula kind of thing. And I do think that that's quite a good, interesting thing. But how much luggage?
Like, if you're into bodybuilding, be prepared to eat cold food. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You don't need that extra baggage. You need to take makeup and essentials.
Suit.
Yeah, the suit doesn't weigh a lot, but yeah, when you're tight like me and all you'll pay for is a 10 kg wheel-on case, there ain't no hot plate. There's no room for a hot plate in there. No.
So if you had to just take 3 food items with you while traveling, just so that I can, what top 3? 1 carb, 1 protein, 1 fat.
It's hard to take fats whilst traveling. I'd take rice cakes or packets of rice, because you can always buy rice cakes. Some overseas countries, America, you can't get packet rice.
Interesting.
I thought they'd be quite into convenience food. Yeah. But no, it's really hard to get ready-made microwave rice. So yeah, I'd probably make that. You can buy rice cakes every single place in the world. Probably just buy a jar of peanut butter when you get there. That's it. Just spoon it out. And protein... I just make enough for a couple of meals and then go to the deli and buy some cooked chicken or packets of chicken meat. That's in every country's supermarket. Prawns are great as well.
Do you ever worry that you're going to get like food poisoning?
Well, no, because I'm buying the prawns from a supermarket abroad and then putting them in my hotel fridge. Like, you don't even need to cook them, do you? They're ready cooked. So.
I'm scared of fish, so that's fine.
I was saying that I did get food poisoning. When I went to Poland last year, it was a nightmare. Yeah. I say I delayed some shows because I had COVID. It's like, right, I'm going to do this Poland show. I did it last year. I love it. And then I landed on Thursday and basically never left my hotel room. Just like,
oh my gosh.
Like you're trying to like carb up and but no food has stayed in my body. So that was an interesting prep. So, but it, I pulled it out of the bag. I got on stage. It was fine in the end. But yeah, I was interested. It was like, oh my God, this could not be happening. Didn't leave my hotel room Thursday. Friday, I felt okay. And I thought I really need to eat a lot of carbs now because
you buried just nothing in your body for that whole week.
I was shredded. I wouldn't recommend it, but yeah, that was probably me taking fish in a suitcase. So that's probably not. Gosh. I'm probably not a good advert for what I've just been saying.
I think that's hilarious, and it's definitely a show that you will never forget. Let's just put it that way.
I actually looked decent on Saturday, but it was miraculous. It was miraculous. Yeah. Because when you're ill, you always look like a bit like puffy and just not great, don't you? Even though you think I'm probably like dehydrated and no food, I should look bang on. But no, if you're not well, you don't look good. But yeah, by Saturday I was a lot a lot better than I was thinking I was going to look. So yeah,
I think I remember the polo shows. I like the look.
Mhm.
I had no idea you were sick.
Mm.
So, I mean, just, you know, but I'm going to just put it out there and say avoid the fish.
Yeah.
Okay? So everyone just avoid the fish.
Yeah, maybe don't cook cod and take it in your bag
Ooh.
through the airport and then try and
Oh.
eat it that evening when you land. No, maybe just...
Maybe a tin of tuna. Just one tin. One packet of tin.
Yeah.
That's what I would do
Mhm.
now. So, like, that's pretty much everything with work. I think it's, like,
Yeah.
interesting to cover, you know, how...
I think the only other thing with
Oh, yeah.
work, I would say when I did apply for my current job, I actually put it on my CV that I did this stuff because some people try and hide it, I think.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of employers actually, it demonstrates like quite a lot of skills that they want. So it shows you're like disciplined, you organized supposedly. I'm not, but you know, they think I am. You know, that you're just like dedicated to something. They like people who have outside interests, you know, and have got a bit of something about them. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what other sport, you know, demonstrates like so many qualities that, you know, you've got attention to detail, how intricate like your food and your diet is, and you know, your multitasking ability and your time management and stuff, all this sort of thing. People, it's like, oh, actually, you can. That's quite interesting how you can do all this. So it shows like quite a lot of good skills, I think. So don't be shy of saying to employers that you do it. I mean, sometimes it is a bit weird. People think like, what does your employer think of you prancing around in a bikini or something? But
That's a good point, actually. The bikini side. Like, I like the idea that employers can... Motorbike. I like the idea that the employers can like the idea of you doing something extracurricular and that it demonstrates all the abilities, like you said. But how have you ever been in a role where your employer probably didn't think that it was appropriate? Or they look at your social media?
Yeah, I think in a previous employment, somebody had, I don't know if the word complained is correctly, said something to one of the directors that, I don't know, my social media was inappropriate or something. But to be honest, they were quite supportive in my previous job as well. Like they knew what I was doing. In fact, for my very first show, quite a lot of people from my job actually came to watch my very first show. Yeah, and supported me doing it. So they knew what I was up to. Yeah, and I've always been very careful really with my social media. Like, yeah, I have done photo shoots and fitness photo shoots, this sort of stuff. But I've tended, you know, I've wanted it to be like sports based, or, you know, showing off the physique, or not do anything too provocative, if you like, you know. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with posing in your bikini to show off your hard work, but I have always been mindful of like the perception of how I want to come across, and you know, highlight the sport, not like sexualize the sport.
Do you think you'd be taken seriously, let's say, for example, if you had done photo shoots that were more risque, or let's say with, because I have a pet peeve and this is just for a general context, when I do see people that maybe take photos in nudie underwear. I've done it, and unfortunately the internet lives forever, and I don't want to say it's going to be out there forever, potentially is, but I have had to take it down, not for employer reasons, but for my own self. And then it makes me think, well, would I be taken seriously? I don't know if you have the same idea. Like, would you, if that was something that you did? That's a long question.
Yeah, I think it's a similar point, isn't it? Really, it's like how you want yourself to be perceived, and
yes,
it's like you want to be taken seriously in the sport as well, and why you're doing what you're doing. And there's nothing wrong with doing a photo shoot to kind of capture the moment, and you know, it's great to have like a lasting memory of what you've achieved, and something that isn't just a stage shot, you know, something how you want to be seen and whatever. But yeah, I am just mindful, but it's each to their own, isn't it? And people are always going to judge stuff, you know. People might think standing on stage is inappropriate. And some people do, you know.
I've definitely been in this situation where I've had like one employer think it's completely inappropriate to do bikini shows and be an accountant.
Yeah.
And then I also have my current employers who have actually on purposely checked out my social media to see what the hell it is that I do on the outside, because they were curious when I mentioned bodybuilding. And I did make sure, you know, if there was anything that was completely risky, I did actually take it off, because at the end of the day, I don't want my employer to see something that I'm uncomfortable with. Yeah. And I think it's like you also say, it's your perception of how you want to be perceived online. But also for me, I don't think I would be taken as seriously, say, for example, if I was in like see-through underwear, which there's nothing out there. So nobody look it up.
Yeah, and I think as you get older and stuff as well, like, you know, probably nobody wants to see that of me. But
well, let's just say, like, I know you YOLO, you only live once kind of thing, but YOLO also have a job until you can maybe, you know, not be in such a job.
Yeah, I mean, you've also got to think, like, again, what's the purpose of your social media, or what are you using it for? Like, and I think that does get lost sometimes. I think when I first came into the fitness industry, you know, you can get swept up in it. Everyone thinks, oh, this is my opportunity to do this, or get sponsored for that, or feature in this magazine, or do that. And you'll kind of seize every little opportunity that comes along and want to be on everything and do everything and get your face out and tagging everyone in everything. And that's kind of encouraged, like, when I first started, like, I don't know, it was just like what everyone was about in those federations that I started with. They wanted to use that as a platform to really boost their like fitness profile for kind of modeling purposes and stuff. So you kind of just get swept along with it and, you know, post more stuff and maybe more risky stuff because more likes. But I think, you know, as it's gone on, like I'm less and less bothered about that sort of stuff. Like I do the sport because I like the sport. I'm not necessarily doing the sport because I want modeling opportunities or I want sponsorship opportunities. You know, I post a lot less on my social media than I used to. I'm not that interested if people like it or not. So, you know, I'm, and if I post stuff, it's kind of documenting my journey for me. It's my own little scrapbook, or, you know, I post a lot more personal stuff there now than I used to. It used to be like pure fitness. But yeah, I'm not really doing my social media to impress anyone anymore, because what is there to be gained from it? It's not like ultimately where my career is or where it's going to be going. Yeah, you can have some nice little perks from it. Yeah, and you can get to do fun stuff, you know, like, you know, we've met and we've done sponsorship things, and yeah, that's great. And I've been on, you know, I've done the stands at Body Power. I've been on Jay Cutler tour and walked him into a nightclub one day and all this sort of like wacky stuff that you think, this is mad, like whose life is this? But that's not going to be your life forever, is it? You know, you just...
Good memories though. Yeah, really good. I appreciate you just like being completely honest about that, and just having just being honest about work and work life and the balance that it takes when it comes to prepping, because it's a lot harder than it looks. And I just props to anyone that is working full-time or working night shifts or doing like a nursing job where you're on your feet all the day. And my goodness, this is really something. And then I was gonna say, I will say what I had in my advantage for many years prepping is that I was like single as, so it was great because I had like, you know, no husband or boyfriend, no kids. There was no like prohibited foods in the house that might tempt me. There's no sweets. There's nobody eating anything else. Nobody wanting to take me out for dinner. Nobody bringing a takeaway home. So it's quite easy to stay focused. And I have like a mad amount of respect, because I speak to a lot of competitors who've got like husbands, children, whatever. And I'm thinking, you know, they're eating all this stuff around you. They're wanting to do things. You know, you can't be nasty to the kids and say, no, we're not going to go here this week. I don't want to watch you eating that. You know, it's very easy sometimes if you live in a bit of a bubble. You know, all I'm really turning down was like a bit of work in the food in the works canteen. You know, I'd rather eat my own. Fine. So yeah, it swings and roundabouts. Fitting it in work is one thing, but yeah, fitting it around like, you know, families and relationships and stuff's like a different side of it as well. Oh, see, that's really interesting. But I like to have Christine's take on it because I think it's interesting.
Yes. Although my year out now probably coincides with my boyfriend owning a Thai restaurant, so
excellent. So Giles and I will be going
pop
there
down there,
for
everybody.
Dinner.
That's amazing. But yes, it is harder. When you're like,
at least Thai food is like somewhat clean.
Yeah, some of the dishes. Yeah, there were some I would eat on prep. Like a couple of the dishes. There's like one called a lab, which is like basically minced chicken. I think it's like more boiled than fried, and just got loads of like fragrant herbs and stuff in it. It's like super healthy, just with like plain boiled rice. Or some of the soups that aren't coconut milk, things like that. Yeah, there are stuff.
Well,
anyway, little ad there. Thank you very much.
We have to go to Christine's boyfriend's Thai restaurant and do a taste test for you guys. So that'll be great. And then so that sort of like leads me into the other part of this, which is taking time off, because you and I have both taken some time off. You're doing yours now.
Yep.
I am somewhat trying to like prep and kind of make myself look shredded or whatever. I find this is why I'm also getting advice from Christine, because she's done it like where she's been in corporate world for a long time and she's prepped. So I'm getting advice right now by talking to you. But you are now officially a year almost into your off season and taking time off. And I wanted to also expand on that and just say like why it's so important to take time off, because eventually at some point you will. So in your reason, why did you take time off?
Yeah, so I'd basically competed every single year since 2016.
Yeah.
And actually like multiple times a year, not just once, like quite long seasons, you know. Sometimes I think the longest one was like 6 months, kind of May till October. Last year I did July, August till November. So yeah, like it's like half a year. And then you obviously then try and grow and build the other half a year. And even those off seasons, I've kept them like pretty regimented and pretty on track with my plans. Yeah, I've had some fun and gone out and had meals and whatnot. But yeah, I've taken a pretty regimented approach to both for quite a long time. And yeah, I've never had a year off. And most competitors you will meet will take a year off at some point. So this year I've done it for a while. I think towards the end of the back end of last season, I was losing a bit of the desire to do it. You know, sometimes you feel like you've done it to death. Are you kind of improving or achieving what you want to achieve? And do you want to get in that mindset to do it all over again, like straight away? And I didn't feel like I had that kind of fire to start again straight away. I think the year before, you know, I stepped off stage and I had like mad fire to get training and develop and improve. And this year it was just like, I just need a little break. Also I'm 40 this year, so are all my friends, so there's inevitably like a lot of big parties. Yeah, we've already been to Ibiza for a few days and you could not do that whilst prepping what we got up to. So yeah, there's a lot of like events and plans and parties, and I'm organising my own party. Well, yeah, so you know, you've missed out on some of these things for years, or you'll go and not, you know, fully participate or whatever. So I thought, you know, like everyone is doing things this year and I want to be involved in it all and be able to do it and not half in, half out. So actually, why not just, if the fire's not massively there and I've got other things I want to be doing and spending my money on, because competing isn't cheap and neither is everyone's birthdays and holidays and stuff. You can't do everything at once. So I thought, yeah, it's a good time to like just reassess and take a little time out and finally have a year off.
And then sort of like in the year off and just sort of reassessing and reestablishing, I think that's a good point to make, just about redefining your goals and doing all of that. For me, it was, I needed a mental break from stuff. So there was absolutely no way I was going to be competing for a while after, you know, the shock of last year, let's put it that way, because it stuff can happen when you least expect it, and it is how you recover from it, which I think is the most important way. But there's just goes to show that there's many different reasons why you need a year off, to take a year off, just to redefine, reassess, and just kind of have a look at everything before you can dive deep back into the world of competing, which is very interesting.
Yeah,
so
and
that's good.
I think it's like, you know, just give your body a rest for a little bit. You know, it's I wouldn't say like have a year off. Oh, I've never been to the gym in a year. Like I clearly do still go to the gym. Not actually like as regimented as I was, which I am finding it difficult mentally, because sometimes I feel like disappointed in myself because I've been so regimented and so disciplined for so long. Yet now sometimes if I finish work, I'm too tired, I'm just going to go home, because at the back of my mind it's like, well, does it really matter that you haven't been to the gym 5 times this week? Whereas when you are like prepping or even off season, knowing that a prep is coming up, it's like, well, yeah, there's only so many sessions left, or I can't not do that today because I don't want to get on stage thinking that you've let yourself down or not done everything you can. Whereas when there is no like end, it is very easy to let yourself off. So I have a lot of sympathy with, you know, just like the lifestyle clients and stuff. Like people who like stick to that mad regimented are like very, very impressive, because yeah, when there isn't there is like a big fear deadline of standing on stage in your pants, basically.
Yes.
And
yes,
that's the biggest motivation anyone will ever have. And when it's not there, and actually, you don't look shreddy, but you don't look bad. You would go on holiday. You're not like fanatical about how you look, but you're not like sad about how you look. So it's like, well, what am I achieving in this off season? And some people have every year I've had like a mad off-season focus to grow, but I think this time I've just we need a bit of a time out to just try and get back into fitness, for enjoying going to the gym. I want to go for a run, so I'll go for one. It's hard to get back into that like normal person mindset.
You started running again, the 5K.
I tried. Yeah, I hadn't run for 2 years. But
slight technical issue. Just quickly talking to Christine about her 5K runs and how much it motivates me to do my own cardio. And basically, yeah, Christine, I don't know if you want to tell people where they can find you on Instagram to look up all this amazing 5K running.
Oh, and look, I've done one 5K run in 2 years. It's a new start. Yeah, I'm on Instagram. There we go. Take a look at the screen. But yeah, for people who followed me for a while, I during COVID, I did prep during COVID in the hope that a show would happen, and luckily one did. Two, I think, did in like the November, but. I was originally planning to get on stage in June, and then it was prolonged, and I kind of documented a lot of it on Instagram and on Facebook as well. Got a Facebook group to try and kind of encourage people to seize COVID as an opportunity to kind of do something about their fitness, because whenever else, like, would you have the time? You don't do the commute. Why don't you have a walk? I was just trying to really see the positive in it and encourage people to kind of just embrace like having the time to do something. So yeah, we had no other form of cardio, and I was prepping, so I took to running. There was a lovely track near where I used to live, so yeah, every day I'd go out and do my run, and then do a little like live or a post afterwards. And I know I was like, people have got to be bored to death of me going, yeah, I've done my run today.
I was super motivated.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not like nobody likes cardio, especially running. I'm the first to admit, I once did a half marathon on my 27th birthday. This is before I even got into bodybuilding. Absolutely hated it. Never ran a step outside since then until COVID. Not even kidding you. Not kidding you. That was 27. How old was I when COVID? 30, so 10 years. So yeah, I started again, and I got from like, I don't know, 30 minute or like 5K. I ended up like sub 23 minutes 5K. Ooh. I'm nowhere near that again now, but yeah, I did my first one again.
Well, we'll sure. I will look forward to that journey, and just to be motivated.
This is putting pressure on me now to document it, but that's half the reason I did it during COVID, because you got to keep yourself accountable as well as trying to like motivate people to do something other than eat freaking banana bread.
Well, yours was one of the most innovative accounts in COVID for all the home workouts.
Oh my God, I loved it.
Because I was struggling to figure... So I actually used to look at Christine's IG just to be able to get some tips on how I could do a squat or something without having to just do body weights.
I used to have a lot of contraptions.
The broomstick one with the...
Yes, everyone knows that. I think Adam reposted that to his tens of thousands of followers of me trying to fashion a barbell out of a broom, hanging dumbbells off it with ankle straps, and then it's snapping mid hip thrust. So that was one of my greater moments. But yeah, I think it's just something to keep myself sane and just demonstrate to people you don't need like a shed load of equipment. And I was just determined to like try and prep, and I didn't know what the result would be at the end, but I thought it'd be quite an interesting experiment to see like what I actually could do with this stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if people can see that I can get on stage with, a few dumbbells and a broom handle, then actually, they can do quite a lot themselves at home during COVID. So
yeah, I found it super motivating, and I've just found the whole talk with everything to be really helpful for me, and I do hope it helps somebody else that's working in corporate or just like a everyday job and just job in general. So
there is a misconception it is just like fitness people and for fitness, but honestly I don't think I'd be that interested in it if I was working in a gym all day doing this and then having to do the same myself. Like I find it as a good outlet, it's a good stress release, it's something like night and day different to what I'm doing. So
yes,
it actually like does help, and I'm interested in going to the gym. It's something completely different after I've been sat down all day. Actually the physical exercise is like a difference, and the like mental, just you can clear your mind doing that. Whereas if I was in a gym all day, I don't know if I would be that interested in then I'm buzzing to train myself. I've been doing this all day.
That's one thing I think is a good thing about working an office role, though, is like people say like, okay, you have an office role, so you can't do XYZ gym, but believe it or not, it's a good way to rest because you technically don't use your legs for a while.
Yeah.
So you can also see the flip side of just mentally working, but on just resting your body, which is interesting. One
thing I've never been massive on though is this whole 1,000,000 steps a day because I ain't got time for that.
I'm trying to.
No, I ain't got time for that. I've never ever tracked my steps. Thank God, because if I did, it would be very embarrassing. I average about 5,000 steps a day, so I don't do much.
It's hard,
but
steps are hard.
No, I'd rather eat less and sit down. That's my top tip, everyone.
So you guys,
there's more than one way to skin a cat. That's all I'm saying. Yeah,
we love cats.
That's probably not a bad phrase. It's like literally a cat walking under it. Okay.
So you guys, that was Christine. Before we leave, I just want to quickly get a shout out from Christine with regards to just kind of like this subject, and you chose.
Yeah, so we were just thinking of people who demonstrate kind of that they've done other things, and I thought Janet Leo. I understand Janet used to be a nurse. So she actually got like a really, I don't know whether she got to the Olympia and still a nurse, or was certainly a pro and still a nurse, but that's like a, you know, massive demanding job, and she fit all that in. She's also got a teenage daughter, I think. So, you know, like super props to Janet for kind of, you know, keeping it real and achieving what she's achieved. You know, again, she wasn't from, you know, a PT background or whatever. Super demanding, stressful, really worthwhile job as well. So, yeah.
And then for my shout out, I can't even remember who I shouted out since it's been so long. But Petra, sorry, Petra. I'm shouting out Petra because Petra is working and she's taking a year off to heal. Like in sort of one of the reasons why you take a year off, this is Petra's, because she's been a little bit injured here and there, so she's kind of revamping her body, so to speak.
Got to rest the body.
Yeah, so this is kind of important. Don't underestimate your rest and your kind of your potential to grow from there. So, and she's done wonderful this year. I wonder if she will prep and she's just taking some time, but it will be interesting. But a very good luck to Petra and to Miss Janet Leog from Miss Janet Leog and Petra.
Okay.
So you guys, that is everything. Thank you so much to Christine for coming online again and for giving me some insight, and as well to some other people that will find this, I'm sure, really useful. So please make sure to like, share, and comment, and please subscribe to Muscular Development. Go check out Christine on Instagram at Fanny_Fox.
Yes, check me out. I promise I will post more fitness stuff. Then that will make me go to the gym. Thank you.
And for everyone watching, please make sure to also go check out and pick up your copy of Muscular Development with Dana Lynn Bailey on the front. And yes, all these wonderful articles. So you guys, thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate all your support and love, and we will see you again next week. Bye.